an the 401, 404.
Wait for them to go and register.
I'm sorry.
I'm waiting for them to go register. Are you sure you're a user? Register.
Yeah, and you can send it back in the body or in the content location. Either one works. Just make sure you specify it.
Would you handle that on the API? You would, I feel like that would be better handled on not
Well,
the API side.
if you have a front end on your API, you can put it in there. If you don't, just return a 404.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you are just strictly an API,
Yeah. Which is what I'm thinking, right? Because that's
Right.
how, in my mind, that's how we're designing this. As an API.
it is. It is a strict API. Now,
But on your front end, you're designing it so you can use nice things like keep cookies or load a profile, right?
yeah. So, think
So
through.
the UID makes sense, but on the 404, the
404, maybe not. It's up to you. It's
Well,
your
I mean,
choice.
If you return back the 404 with just the path to your register page, then it's up to them to decide if they want to load your register page first.
If you have one, yeah. Or you may just put the register endpoint in there, and then they can choose to use it or not. They don't. Just because it's in the header doesn't mean they have to use it. That's just you being extra helpful. 500. 500 is not very well specified, and so 500, I would do a content type, JSON, and return a body. With a useful description of why you failed. Now that useful description isn't so much for them to show the end user, but for the people who are using your API to say, what the heck am I getting a 500 for? Now, if the network's down, you can't respond, but if you can send a response back, for a 500, definitely attach a body with something useful for them. You can give them an error code and then a useful description. In the current project that I'm working on, if there's a 500 and I can determine from the request some information, I'll provide a link to a run book or something of that nature, so that they'll say, hey, okay, this project, this request failed, but they gave me something to fill in the gap. So something that might be useful for the end user. Again, they can choose to use it or not. So typically, I'll return a 500 if part of the application stack is down. One of the databases that I need to do a successful response is down. I'll return a useful description saying this database from this part and this person is down. Here's the phone number and the person's name if you want to call them, tell them to get their database back up. That type of thing. Now, that used to be frowned upon, but now it's like, no, if you can't keep your dependencies up on a network, then you need to be told, and monitoring is not sufficient in the industry right now. That's why you still get the fail whale and all that stuff on Twitter and other apps. So that's just this guy. There's one other endpoint I would do, and I'd make him just a get. And his action is show HTML. And the HTML should describe how to use your API. Yep, exactly. README, you can.
These are the endpoints. This is what they're used for.
Yeah, if you're.
This is what you need to send.
We use PHP Documenter to document all our code, our classes and everything, and our endpoints, and then we just display that, so they can go in there and they say, oh, I can either use the library or the web service, and so we give them something when they just hit that. All right, so that's one. That's to authenticate what? A user, right? So maybe we want to put auth user or something like that. Okay, there's another endpoint that I think your API needs. And it's an authentication.
Like third party or something?
Tell me what you mean by third party, Darren.
Well, like if we're hitting Twitter or some other,
Just SQLite.
is that what you're?
Just SQLite.
Well, you're on the right track, but jump over one lane.
Gone.
Man, that better make me look thin.
It does, I promise.
Yeah, right. Fly through your front teeth.
Can't we just bring you like a donut and you'll just give us an egg?
I know I'm teaching the class right when he's begging for mercy. Good, I'm making you work. And I'm gonna make you sweat. But you won't be unhappy if you put the effort in, you'll be fine. It's not gonna affect your GPA. I guarantee that. I've been on your side. Don't worry about it. I would rather have you struggle and feel that you're doing D work and learn, because you won't get a D if you do the work. You turn it into code and stuff.
So we're not having class Wednesday.
No,
I just have more questions before the weekend.
I know.
So,
Fire them off in an email. I'm not even getting to Piazza. I'm sorry, guys. I got a lot of stuff I need to wrap up before Wednesday morning. Okay. Do you want everybody just hitting your website or your API?
Yes.
Everybody unrestricted. Nope. Right. So you need some type of
Developer.
API
permission, something. Let's call it. I don't know. I can't think of it.
Should it be,
it's the 80s.
the API side isn't only gonna be basically developers accessing it, right?
Yeah.
So when you want it to be something along the lines of API access,
So you have access. Okay, so what kind of methods are we going to have on this guy?
authenticate your approved list of.
Okay, so one. Let's think of something very simple, not hard, okay? So before I can authenticate a user to this guy, I need to get permission to authenticate a user. So I want to hit the access site. Okay? So let's think of something very, very simple and then make it more secure. Let's just do a simple get access. So we just do a simple get to here. Okay? And he returns in the response a 200, and in the header he puts I can't think of the name, I'll have to look it up. He puts I think it's authentication token or something. I don't know, remember the name, or authorization. It's one of the standard headers that says authorization, and then the value we pass is some string. Okay, so the action is, so he generates UUID, puts it in the authorization header, and sends it back. So what does that do? That says, that lets, and then that UUID is stored in the database somewhere, just in permissions or something, or access or whatever.
Just to track if someone keeps hitting your.
Exactly. So every time somebody sends a request to here, they have to have that token that we return to them in the request header. So we know, typically when they do a get here, we can get where they came from, so on and so forth. store that into the database, generate a UID, put that in the database and return it. Then if we don't see that token come in on a get or post, we immediately return unauthorized.
So they're not in your database.
Yes. We immediately want to reject people who we don't know about, because we don't want to be giving out user information unless we know who that person is, right? And so this is just very simple. There's bigger security methods that we can do, but just use PHP, generate a UUID, and return it, I believe, in the HTTP header. I believe it's authorization or something. Then your JavaScript will have to take that and then add it to all the request headers that come in. And then one of the things that this verify has to do is say, do I know who this person is that's requesting that I authenticate these people? If the person is there, then you can return a 200. And then you can also have another table if you wish, which we're doing, that you record every hit so you know what's going on. So we can generate stats on our API. Then if someone's hitting us abnormally and bringing our servers down, we immediately put a throttle flag on that access ID that we gave them, and we throttle them so that they don't bring us down.
Or reject them.
That's how we throttle them. You cannot make a call to us for the next 60 seconds. So we just keep sending them unauthorized, unauthorized, unauthorized. There's something better. I think we could probably do an unauthorized with a body on it saying, you've killed us in the past. We're not going to let you kill us now.
You have violated our terms of
SLA or something. Typically at this point, we turn it over to the lawyers and say, tell us what to send.
So this is project 3?
Now I'm just talking about some discussions you guys should be having for project 3. Okay, then we talked about how to stub your project. So you know how so for those,
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how to migrate my data in here, or migrate my files in here, how I'm going to handle use your simple request.php or irequest.php. I mean, we're still back at that point.
Well,
okay,
That's all Slim.
well, you're going to use those classes inside of Slim. Slim is going to handle your API stuff, but your controllers that you create in Slim are going to call those classes.
They're still going to call simple request.
No, simple request is not. That will be handled by Slim.
yeah.
Slim will handle everything except the actual authentication of SQLite.
So simple router's gone as well.
Yes.
So we just have to copy our authentication.
Right, and so
For
this,
SQLite.
in this example, in your composer that you use to bring Slim down, if you add this segment,
Can I just take a picture of that way?
oh, absolutely. And I'll try to remember to get it up on Piazza tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then then you just copy your files from project 1 and 2 over to the same directory in project 3, and with that, you should auto-load them with the Bootstrap. I'll zip all this up and put it up on Piazza.
Oh, maybe.
I don't want to pollute GitHub with it, because I was just shooting from the hip. But I'll zip it up and put it on Piazza tonight.
Well, will you just click on them? Because I can type it in minutes roughly. If it's just those other two, Bootstrap and Config, right?
Yeah, Bootstrap.
Okay.
Now, before we go to the next one, right here on line 21, you can require a file that defines all your gets and puts and deletes, or you can just put your get, puts, and deletes right here in the Bootstrap if you want.
Well, it'd be nice to just
It's
do
fine
that.
to put it there, but you'll probably at some point say, no, let's put it in a different.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to start from there to
Yeah.
get it going.
Yeah, exactly. And then config. And then, see, we were gonna start to define this, but we ran out of time. But this discussion had to happen first.
What about up above this? You still are using all that?
I just left that over from project one.
None of that's really needed anymore with the JSON file. With the
All those
JSON
authors,
namespacing
yeah.
that you did, that's all in the JSON side now.
So
So
really
none of
you
that's
just need
needed.
the config object only.
And then in index.php at public, you're just requiring, yeah,
Just require Bootstrap.
okay, perfect.
Then what I was doing is after this discussion, I was gonna put what we decided into this section right here, endpoints, and then feed it into Endpoint Manager, which then takes what I put here and converts it into slim-ish endpoints.
Either get, post, or
Yeah, exactly.
store it as a string and then set it to GX.
If I get time tomorrow night, I'll do it online, I'll get the Adobe thing up and running, and we can class programming. And I'll start coding this as if I'm
Will you
coding
record
project.
record it? Because I work
I
Grace.
think,
You could build Grace, so.
I don't know if I can yet. My wife may say, no, you got
But if you go back and.
If you do it